Hey y'all, welcome back to Mrs. Lynn's Cooking. Today we're going to make a Philly cheesesteak hand pie. What we're going to need, if you can't get your ribeye steak, which you really need ribeye because it's a more tender cut, but you can use whatever you have. Okay, and I bought it already pre-shaved. If not, you could do it with a steak, freeze it before for about 15 to 20 minutes before you try to shred it, because if not, it's just not going to cut for you. So, and you're going to need two either crescent rolls or crescent dough. This is the one sheet. You're going to need a pizza cutter. You're going to need one rolling pin. I have a small one. You're going to need either fresh garlic, this is fresh minced garlic. I'm using just sliced cheese, which is the Borden's melt. A half of an onion cut up, and then you're going to need right about a quarter of a stick of butter to saute these onions in. Okay, I just took my stick butter and cut it into small pieces so that it would melt a little bit faster. What we're going to do is we're going to melt this butter, and then once the butter is melted, we're going to take our onions that we have already sliced up thin, and we're going to put it in here and caramelize these. And then once we get these caramelized, we're going to set them to the side. Okay, my butter's starting to melt, so I'm going to take probably about 2 teaspoons of minced garlic. This is gourmet garlic. You can do it yourself or in the jar or cut it up. This is a lot easier to work with. So I'm just going to go ahead and squeeze a little bit of my garlic in there, and we're going to get that stirring around real quick, and then we're going to add in our sliced up onions that we've already done. And this is going to, because once we get through doing the onions on this, we're going to end up putting the steak into the same pan. But we're just going to transfer all these out so that we can get them caramelized up. So that's all we're doing now, is we're just caramelizing these onions real quick. And then once we get these done, we'll be right back. Okay, we've got this cooking. It's about halfway done. We're going to do these to where you can see that they're starting to brown up, and that's when they are caramelizing. So I want to make sure and keep stirring it so it does not burn this, because we used real butter in here. So, and then I want to let you know that what I've done is I want to show you, it's called Gourmet Garden minced garlic. It comes in other ones too, but I use this because it's fresh and a lot easier to work with. So I'm going to keep stirring on these until they all brown up. Then I'll be right back with you. Okay, now you can see here that these are a nice golden brown. That's what you want these onions to look like. Leave your burner on. I've got mine set at number 4, which is a medium-low heat right now because the pan's already warmed. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take that same skillet and we're going to dump every bit of this meat into here. And then we're going to start breaking this up. And you can see how tender this stuff is, that it just doesn't, it just breaks up with just a little spatula, or it's just plastic spatula, kind of. So let's get these going and then we'll be right back. Okay, what I've done is I changed to a spatula that's a little bit more firmer, but I've got a non-stick surface here, so I'm just taking a plastic fork that I have and just trying to shred it apart while this stuff is cooking. And make sure that you cook this meat well done. Okay, we're going to let that cook. Okay, this steak is pretty much done, but what I'm going to do at this point is I've got it set on a number 4. I'm going to take those garlic, butter, and onions, and I'm going to put all these back into this skillet. And then we're just going to kind of warm it up, mix it together. Okay, so once we get this done, then we're going to go over to the island, and I'm going to do up the dough so that we can get it ready to put it in the oven. And do whatever it says on your, if you use crescent rolls or phyllo or whatever you may use, just make sure you put the temperature to where it says to do it on the package. So we're going to just do this around here for just a couple of more minutes because I want to make sure my meat's done. And yes, it's going to cook more when I go to put it into the oven, but I'm just a stickler for meat done. Okay, we'll be right back. Okay, our meat's done, and I've transferred it over to a bowl because we're going to have to take this out and we're going to roll these. But what I'm going to do is I tasted my meat. I'm going to go ahead and put some salt on it. If you can't have salt, then use no salt, or just don't use salt at all. It's up to you. But I'm going to put a little bit of salt on this and just stir it around. And then we're going to take this and we're going to have to set this over to the side. And now what we're going to do is I'm going to take and clean this up real quick because I ended up getting grease everywhere from the meat. So just bear with me. Okay, we've got that all set to the side. Now I'm going to open up these crescent. It is actually called crescent dough sheet is what I have. I tried it. You can do it with crescent rolls as well if you don't have the sheets. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to open this up, and then I'm going to have to roll this out just a little bit to get it to stretch a little bit. So we're just going to roll this out because I'm going to have to cut these. I tried them before by putting the dough and trying to get it stretched over the baking dish or over these muffin tins. It didn't work as well. It really didn't. So, because you got one that had more than the other one did. So I'm just going to take and stretch it. I really don't need the pin, the rolling pin. I just need to just stretch it out a little bit. And then I'm not sure how many I'm going to get out of here, but I'm going to at least try to shoot for 6 of them. So, because you're going to put the ones on the bottom, fill them, and then we're going to put the ones on the top. And I just do this with a pizza cutter because it's so much easier than with a knife. There we go. Now, I'm going to take and I'm going to pick this up, and then I'm going to put these in and kind of mash them down a little bit so that you have the room for your meat and cheese. And we're just going to kind of mash this down a little bit like so. It's not going to be perfect, but we're just going to do like so and just leave it a little bit over the edge because when we go to put our other sheet on top of here, we're going to need it to fold it in there or to crease it down so it doesn't spill. So we're going to go ahead and get these done just like so and get them filled in because I think the hardest part of this is just doing this little dough. That's the hardest part of this entire recipe. So do this. And yes, I'm not a perfect cut. I can tell you now, I've learned to bake. I've learned to cook. But when it comes to decorating, I'm not the best at it. But that's okay. As long as it tastes good, that's all that matters. That's the way I look at it. Okay, and I'm going to fill the rest of these up and we'll be right back. Okay, I've got them done. They're going to be thin, and that's fine because they're going to break up. They're going to bake up. They're going to be crusty, and that's what you want. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to take a spoonful of my meat mixture, and I'm just going to put it here in the center. Put as little or as much as you like. Do it just like so. And then once we do this, then what we're going to do is we're going to take and we're just going to put some cheese over the top of this. And then we're going to seal it with the other crescent dough. So we're just going to get these all packed in here. Nice and even. And I got 9 out of that one pack. You might be able to get more. But I guess I was getting a little bit of a hurry. So, because we're hungry. And I really want to try these because they really smell really super good. And I'm going to try to use all this meat in these 9 little pockets. So we're just going to get them. I'll go ahead and get all of them, some in every one of them. And then we'll come back in and refill what we've missed. So, because what we're going to do is this is just going to end up sealing down, and we're just going to bake it. That way, when you get through with it, the cheese is going to already be in it, and I think it's going to turn out really, really good. But I like to do these things so that when you're on the run, you have something that you can eat that's fresh made and that tastes really good. So we're just going to keep filling these up, just like so. And if you want to do more than this, you can. And we will. We're going to try different ones is what we're going to do. Okay, so I'm going to take that, set it to the side. Now, I just got I buy the Borden's melt cheese because it seems to melt better. And it's a little bit more creamier than anything else. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just break them apart like so and just pile it in like that. So we should be able to get a half a piece of cheese on every one because it's going to end up melting down into that meat mixture. So we're going to get these done. Some people would rather just use shredded cheese. You can do that too. But I've got an abundance of sliced cheese, so we're just going to use this. And just like so. And I'm really excited about doing this because I think they're going to be really good. So, because I know I love a good cheesesteak. And we live in Florida to where I really don't think we have that many places that have really good cheesesteaks. So I'm trying to figure out a way for me to make it myself. And I just wish sometimes we could get a hold of a really good cheesesteak. So, and the best way I know how to do it is by making it yourself. And you know what is in your food because you know what you put in it. So, and I'm going to take this one piece here. Let me add a little bit more to one or another one of these. Let me use a bigger one on this. And we're just going to do like so. And one there we go. And now what we're going to do is, that fell out, so we're going to put that back in. Now the dough kind of shrunk down in there. What you're going to have to do is take your fingers, you're going to have to kind of pull it back in, which is no big deal. So we're going to take this and we're going to do it again and get this stuff covered up, and then we're going to put it in an oven. And we'll be right back. Let me get this thing open. Okay, we've cut the other dough. It took me a few minutes to get into that one. It did not want to open. So I'm just going to take this dough, just like this, set it over the top, and we're just going to repeat this process till we get it covered. And then we're going to come back in with a fork. And I will show you how to cover and seal it with a fork. Or you can pinch it up, but I like doing it with a fork. It's easier for me. So I'm going to get these all covered up and we'll be right back with you on that. Okay, now what I'm doing here is I'm just stretching it over and making sure that all the dough is going to end up meeting up with the other dough that's on the bottom. So just take a couple of minutes to do that. And then once we do, then we're going to come back in with a fork and crimp it down so that it will seal together. So, and you got to kind of separate it a little bit so that each pie is separate. So let's get these all crimped down together like so. And I'm going to turn this so that I can work with this one. And because it's going to end up being separate pieces of these. So let's get these taken care of. And just work them around is what you're doing. I know we're working with square, but, and we're trying to get it into a round pan. And sometimes it's easier said than done. But you just got to work with it, just like we're doing here. And just take your time doing it. So, and then you can see how I've got that. And then I'm just kind of bringing it around. And then once we do this, we're also going to take and put some holes, just a couple of holes with your fork in the top of it. So I'm just taking my fork and I'm just going around the edges just like this to seal it. And it's the same thing you would do if you're doing a pie. You're just sealing the dough in there. Once you do that, then come back around with your finger and just shape it back into a round circular little shape. And we're just going to get these done really quick. And then, like I said, after I get these done, I'm going to take this fork and I'm going to just do one puncture so that you can, any heat that's in there, so it comes out and doesn't mess up. So we're just going to do just 2 holes in the top, just like that. That's all you need to do. And then that way we've got holes in there so that it doesn't burn you when you go to take them out of the oven and out of these little containers. And no, you do not need, I should have said this earlier, but I didn't, and I should have. Just go by the directions on your dough, whether it's biscuits dough or phyllo, whatever it may be, and just go by the directions on it as you would if you were just making whatever you're making with it. So we're just going to get this done. And then what we're also going to try to do is, I've thought about doing a egg wash on them, but since this is like a crescent dough, I don't think it's really going to need it. So I'm not going to do that. Because sometimes the stuff you need to put an egg wash or a butter wash on it. But this time we're not going to do that. We're just going to puncture these down. And then we're going to put them in our oven until they're a nice golden brown. Okay. We are finished with our little Philly cheesesteak hand pies. Now, some of them came out great. Not a problem. Other ones, they kind of fell apart on me, like so. But that's okay because they're still edible. But you'll just have to put them on a plate. But just make sure that when you do put these in the cupcake tin, go ahead and spray it. They'll release a little bit easier. I did not know that until I just did it. So we're going to also do some turkey ones. So we'll spray those down really well. But if you like this video, please like and subscribe.